Half-Life 2 Lost Coast is a tech demo. It was released about a year after Half-Life 2. It was released on October 27th, 2005, and it's free to anyone who owns Half-Life 2 on Windows. Lost Coast was created to showcase one major thing that Valve was working on, and that's their high dynamic range rendering software. High dynamic range rendering allows for more realistic lighting effects. So you got things such as water refracting light now, and you also got things like bloom. Half-Life 2 Lost Coast was very graphically impressive at the time it was released in 2005. It even comes with a video stress test option in the main menu so that you could test out if your computer was able to run it, which if it's 2023 and your computer can't run it, might be time to upgrade. In high dynamic range rendering, it's cool and all, but why should you really play Half-Life 2 Lost Coast? Well, you should play it for the developer commentary system. Lost Coast plays essentially exactly the same as the base Half-Life 2 game, all compacted into one 15-minute package. 15 minutes, 15 minutes long. It's very short, but it's very sweet. See, it's only 15 minutes because Lost Coast was initially supposed to be just a section of the Highway 17 chapter from the base Half-Life 2 game. Eventually, it was cut, though, before release. You spawn into Lost Coast with all of your tools of the trade, including the gravity gun. No bug bait, though, although that's not a big deal. There's no antlines. You start by fighting your way up a cliff. Eventually, you reach a monastery where you gotta take out a few poison head crabs and some more combine. And then the level ends with a rocket fight against a hunter chopper before you mysteriously fade out of existence. That is the entire level. Again, it is very short. Took me about 30 minutes the first time with developer commentary on. Took me about 15 minutes without. There's only one character introduced in Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, and he's a very minor character. It's the fisherman. He gives a little exposition. He allows you to advance further into the plot, and then he sees you phase out of this corporeal dimension at the very end. The thing that stands out the most about him are his fancy boots. They look a lot like Pyros from TF2's, but they really showcase the high dynamic range rendering very well because of the way that they show off the new lighting effects that Valve came up with for the Source engine. This fisherman must be fly fishing because his kicks are fly as hell. And fun fact, Highway 17 was originally called Coast during development, which is why this is called Lost Coast. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of why you should play this, despite it essentially being a glorified way for Valve to show off their new lighting techniques. Well, you should play Lost Coast because of the developer commentary system.
Yay, Ben.
Lost Coast was actually the first game that Valve used the developer commentary system in. If you don't know how developer commentary works, essentially you just walk around the map and you see these nodes, these kind of node things, and you interact with them, and commentary comes from, well, the developers, and they explain to you how they designed the level. The developer commentary system is fascinating for Half-Life fans, or if possibly you design games yourself. They go over everything from the art style to how they approach gameplay and how the Source engine works even. For instance, they talk about how the cliffside in Half-Life 2 Lost Coast was meant to emulate the cliffside fight in Half-Life 1's surface tension level. They also speak about how high dynamic range rendering is now able to replicate the human eye within the Source engine with regards to things such as, again, water refraction, and bloom. And in what are some of the most interesting developer commentary nodes, they talk about their approach to how they create set pieces and base puzzles around them, and how they balance those puzzles with exploration and combat to make sure that the game doesn't end up being boring or repetitive. Again, this commentary is fun and fascinating, regardless of if you're a Half-Life fan or develop games yourself. This developer commentary system would eventually be implemented in more Valve games in the future, and it all started with little old Lost Coast, this 15-minute tech demonstration. The developer commentary gives you a much deeper appreciation for Valve and how they created Half-Life, and it really makes you admire the game that much more. So if you're bored one day and you want to get the old noggin jogging, why not play Half-Life 2 Lost Coast? It allows you to basically dive into the mindset of one of the biggest game developers in the world, Valve. If you're a game dev, then I could see this information being absolutely invaluable for your own game design. And if you're a fan of Half-Life, you'll love hearing from the people that worked on not just Half-Life, but some of the other best games ever made, in my opinion, like Left 4 Dead or Portal. Well, I'd love to do a longer video, but I have been extremely busy, so that's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey!
Bendro will show that you are super cool. Hey, you, a light will show you rule. It's totally free and guaranteed your help will be my fuel.